Fox Sports.
We are Black Fork. We are Arizona.
Welcome to Players Weekend 2018 D-backs baseball, brought to you by Dos Equis. Keep it interessante. The first place Diamondbacks continuing their visits from the American League West this week. Tonight, it's the Seattle Mariners in for the first of three on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Renly along the way. Players Weekend once again, unique jerseys. Players with their nicknames on the back, patches on the sleeves dedicated to family and friends. Bob, the second year now of Players Weekend. This was a big hit last year.
And I think the players learned a lot last year. Some of the nicknames, some of the shoes this year may be a little different than we're used to seeing. The guys really get into the spirit of Players Weekend this season, and should be a lot of fun.
And a nice touch by MLB to put those patches on the sleeves there where the players can write it in dedication to a friend or a family member, a coach along the way who helped them.
Yeah, we've got a list of people that have been saluted by the Diamondbacks in this game tonight, and we'll give those to you over the course of the ball game.
Well, some of the names on the Seattle side may be familiar. We've got a lot of former D-backs over there. Mitch Haniger, Chris Herman, and Gene Segura all here with Seattle.
Yeah, Mitch Haniger doing a really fine job with the Mariners, hitting .276, has 20 homers, 81 driven in. Gene Segura hitting .315. What's new? Chris Herman, the backup catcher, spent a couple stints on the disabled list, but he was one of our favorites in his time here in Arizona.
Should be a fun weekend of D-backs baseball. The Mariners are in town. First pitch is coming up on Fox Sports Arizona.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By Tire Pros of Arizona, everything rotates around you. By the NASCAR Can-Am 500 at ISM Raceway, November 9th, 10th, and 11th. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. It's brought to you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free jumbo jacks only at Jack in the Box. By Dos Equis, keep it interessante. By Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing. Choose Chaz. By the new film Operation Finale. Discover the true story of the hunt for Hitler's deadliest lieutenant in theaters August 29th. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today.
Well, Players Weekend, players dedicating this to family and friends. We're going to send a big shout out to Paul Collins. He's got a birthday today. Big Bob Brenly fan. Well, why not? Monday night brought to you by Dos Equis. Roof is closed, nice and comfy inside Chase Field. Zach Godley and the Diamondbacks, a season high 15 games over 500. They've won 3 straight, 6 of 7 after taking both games of a 2-game set from the Angels this week. Now another visit from the American League West. This time the Seattle Mariners are in town on this Players Weekend. And here's their batting order, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Let you just absorb those nicknames for the time being. I'll give you the real names. Mitch Haniger leading it off out in right field. Robinson Cano playing first base tonight. Gene Segura at shortstop. Denard Span will be out in right field. Kyle Seager at third base. Cameron Maben will be out in center field. Mike Zunino doing the catching. D. Gordon at second base. And Erasmo Ramirez, the right-hander, on the mound for the Mariners.
And for the Diamondbacks, your Ram truck starting pitcher tonight is the Bull, the right-hander Zach Godley. 13-6, roughed up in his previous start Saturday at San Diego. 6 runs. He walked 4 guys, but did avoid the loss and hoping to get back on track tonight.
Yeah, command was a little spotty in that game against San Diego compared to what we're used to seeing from Zach Godley recently. Hopefully he'll get back on track here tonight.
E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look around the diamond at the Diamondbacks defense.
The freight train, David Peralta out in left field. A.J. Pollock will be in center. Steven Souza Jr. over in right field. It'll be Eduardo Escobar and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Ketel Marte and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Alex Avila behind the plate tonight for right-hander Zach Godley.
Ed Hickox calling the balls and strikes. He's our plate umpire. Gabe Morales at first base. Jeremy Rehack at second. The crew chief Jerry Meals is at third. Well, time, Bob, for your Valley Honda Dealers Players Weekend. Key to the game.
Went right back to the basics. Sink the Mariners. Who do they think they are? We don't even have water here in Arizona.
Well, they're hopefully a ship out of water here in
There
this
you go.
set. Seattle, 16 games over 500. They're only 5.5 back in the American League West. 4 games out of a wild card spot. And having a tremendous all-star season, in fact, is the former Diamondback Mitch Haniger, who leads it off. 276, 20 home runs. He leads Seattle in RBIs. And he's got himself a little base hit to left to start us off. So Haniger now with a 6-game hitting streak. He's been red hot lately.
First baseman, number 22, Robinson Cano.
Robinson Cano. 291 and 5 homers. A lot of changes for Seattle. Haniger fairly new to the leadoff spot. That happened about 2 weeks ago. Cano is making only his 3rd start ever at first base tonight. That's something that they've just come up with the idea of trying this week. And Cano sends one out to Peralta right at David and left.
Early swinging already from the Mariners. Wouldn't be surprised to see that all night long against Zach Godley. The word is out. Zach Godley's got that devastating curveball. He's going to throw it a lot, especially when he's ahead in the count. So Mariners look like they don't want to allow him to get ahead in the count.
Yeah, we were asking Torey Lovullo about Seattle before the game today, and he said, you know what, they just bang the ball. Typical American League free swinging type of club. Segura leading the way at 315. He's 5th in the league. Got 9 homers. Got to be careful putting extra runners on base. Don't walk a lot of guys ahead of some of these big Mariner bats. If you're going to give up a home run, make it a solo shot. There's ball 1. Segura, an all-star with Seattle this year, the former D-back. And he is still Gene the hitting machine. He leads the majors with 18 games of at least 3 hits. It's a little dunk shot out to Marte, who's got it, the former Mariner. Well, Godley gave up the base hit, but he's got 2 outs on 5 pitches, and here's Denard Span batting cleanup.
Denard Span.
Span 278, 9 homers. Acquired by Seattle near the end of May from the Tampa Bay Rays. We've seen him the last 2 years as a San Francisco Giant.
Probably have to go back a ways to find the last time Denard Span was a cleanup hitter in somebody's lineup.
It's a different look. You've got their RBI, their leading RBI guy leading off. Cano's at first base for the first time in forever. Span is batting cleanup. It's do things a little differently here. They of course don't have Nelson Cruz, who's just been a DH this year for Scott Service, so that's a big bat that they lose in the National League Park. Cruz having another big year with 31 home runs, but they have to leave him out of their starting lineup. D-backs have the shift on. 3 defenders on the right hand side. Statcast AI powered by AWS. Escobar all by himself at 3rd.
Nelson Cruz not in the starting lineup, as you mentioned, since we don't have the designated hitter, but you can be pretty sure that Torey Lovullo has a red circle around his name on that lineup card. Always want to know where Nelson Cruz is.
Gonna have to have a right hand arm ready in that bullpen. 1-1 on D Span. Sends one out to center. Long run for AJ. Oh, Zach Godley, the Bull, leads that leadoff single aboard. at-bats on Players Weekend. To face your Ram Truck starter for Seattle, the right-hander Erasmo Ramirez, 28 years old, his 7th season in the big leagues. But he's been hurt much of this year, winless at only 4 starts.
Ramirez rounding into shape nicely. You can see the 0-2 record ERA, almost 5.5. The most notable number there, 7 home runs in 19 2/3 innings pitched.
A.J. Pollock leads it off. That is a sweet looking bat that AJ's got. I think he's got some snake heads on that thing painted. Back in the leadoff spot. There's a fastball in there for a strike. AJ, his nickname is a chicken reference. 281, 16 home runs.
I mentioned in the open that the players were really embracing this Players Weekend this year after going through it last season in the inaugural season. But I think some of the equipment companies are embracing Players Weekend as well. Bats and batting gloves and shoes.
Yeah, the uniform police get the weekend off and everybody gets to just go nuts, and some guys are taking advantage for sure. I mean, guys start thinking about and looking at bat designs and shoe designs months in advance for this thing. They order special custom jobs. And the players have been encouraged by Major League Baseball to tweet out pictures or Instagram pictures of their stuff on social media. Some of the guys have come up some pretty wild looking stuff. Here's the D-backs lineup tonight, brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealer.
AJ, the center fielder, at the plate right now. Eduardo Escobar in the on-deck circle. He'll be playing third base. David Peralta in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Steven Souza Jr. in right field. Ketel Marte at second base. Nick Ahmed at short, with Alex Avila doing the catching for right-hander Zach Godley.
1-2 on A.J. Pollock. Erasmo Ramirez works in the very low 90s with his fastball and features primarily a sinker changeup combo. He'll sink it, he'll cut it. There's an occasional slider. And every once in a while he likes to work up in that zone with that four-seam fastball. Just foul. Nicely played by Sam Noriega down there. Our Golden Glover down the left field line. Ron Pennington in right field tonight on Players Weekend. Seager at shortstop. One away. E.D. Marshall Jewelers gives us a look at the Mariners defense tonight.
That's Mitch Haniger out in right field. Cameron Maben, the veteran, out in center. Denard Span, even more veteran, over in left field. Kyle Seager will be at third base. Gene Seager at short. D. Gordon at second. Robinson Cano over at first base, with Mike Zunino doing the catching for right-hander Erasmo Ramirez.
Eduardo Escobar, the third baseman, bats in the two-hole tonight. Gordon well back on the outfield grass at second, and he makes a diving catch. D. Gordon really laid out and got it. He started this year as their center fielder, moved to second base when Cano got suspended, and he makes a tremendous diving catch right there.
Well, it looked like he really rolled over that left wrist. Watch after he makes the catch right here. Not too bad. He was able to keep his hand under control, keep that glove under control, and his starting pitcher really appreciates that effort. He covered a lot of ground to get to that line drive.
Here's the freight train. David Peralta batting .306 now with 25 home runs. That OPS good for 7th best in the National League. And he is absolutely on fire right now. Cricket Wireless, something to smile about. The freight train hitting .426 in August with 9 home runs. He's got 17 RBIs in 17 games this month. The numbers have been sensational. And he has homered in each of his last 3 games.
Not surprisingly, David Peralta using the same bat he used last game.
Yeah, don't touch it. Hopefully the last 3. That one right by Ramirez on the mound. Segura cleans it up behind the bag. And it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first. No score from Chase Field.
It's the Seattle Mariners. Jody Jackson with you here. Now, of course, Zach's last time out, it was a tough one for him, a tough outing, and Torey Lovullo gave us a little bit of a glimpse into his mindset after letting Zach work out through a couple of jams and Zach not really having success doing that. It had Torey kind of letting us know how he may manage a little bit different in late August and September. But he said today and kind of reiterated, these guys know I have trust in them. 21 outs is still the goal, of course. And he said, look, I want them going out on the mound feeling like they are the best pitcher to get these outs, that no one in the bullpen can do a better job than they can. And that's what these starters have had so much success with, guys, that kind of confidence.
Yeah, certainly, Jody. Zach Godley's been pitching deep into games as of late, up until his previous start, as we mentioned. Kyle Seager, older brother of the Dodgers, Corey Seager, the third baseman, hitting .222 with 20 home runs.
You know, I think every manager has tried that kind of motivation at some point or another with your starting pitcher. Go out to the mound and tell them to take a look down there in the bullpen. There's nobody warming up. There's nobody down there I like better than you in this situation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, they're just chilling back there for now. Curveball got popped up behind second. Slick Nick Ahmed has got it. One down. That's 4 in a row set down by Godley.
Center fielder, number 10.
Center fielder tonight is Cameron Maben. 246 and 4 homers. We saw Maben earlier this year when he was with the Miami Marlins. Seattle picked him up at the trade deadline.
Going with those Hunter Pence socks tonight. Got the pants pulled up above the knees.
That's quite a look. Don't adjust the tint on your sets at home. We got all kinds of neon colors going on there.
Cameron Maben going by the nickname Slim, which I think is just a description of his uniform size. He's long and lean.
Slim once the 10th overall pick in the draft by the Tigers years ago. And he has been around ever since. Last year he switched teams late in the year as well and wound up in the World Series with the Houston Astros. Signed with Miami just as training camps were opening up this spring, and now he's in Seattle. Mike Zunino, the power hitting catcher, is on deck.
Mariners tonight begin a 10-day, 3-city road trip. They open up with 3 here in Phoenix. Then it's off to San Diego, and then a critical series for them at Oakland. Seattle right now only 4 games out of an American League wild card spot, trailing the Yankees and the A's. So that's a huge series for Seattle at the end of this trip. There's the curveball, and Godley gets his first strikeout tonight.
Maybe did a nice job of laying off some of those pitches earlier in the at bat. Gets a fastball in there for a called strike. Hung a curveball right there that was fouled off. Lays off a curve in the dirt. Another cutter away. Fastball back inside, and then, as usual, finishes him off with a curveball. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Well, here's a guy that strikes out a ton. The catcher, Mike Zunino. He is very much an all or nothing type of offensive player. 192 this year, 17 home runs. He's got some big time power when he makes contact.
287 at bats on the season, 120 strikeouts.
That seems like a lot. About half the time, but he can launch it. This is a harmless fly ball for Souza. A 1-2-3 second for the Bulls. Zach Godley, no score. Chase Field. T-Mobile, Cardinals pitcher Miles Michaelis at Coors Field with a 2-run home run. D-backs leading the NL West by 1 game over the Rockies, and right now Colorado trails the red-hot Cardinals 4-0. They're in the 4th. D-backs 4.5 ahead of LA. The Dodgers home tonight hosting San Diego. Here's Goldie to lead off the second. Boy, ever since the Cardinals got rid of Mike Matheny, they cannot lose.
They've won 3 in a row, 8 out of their last 10. They moved within 3 games of the Cubs in the National League Central.
See that 957 OPS for Goldie. That's 7th best in the major leagues. He is rolling right now. There's a good changeup from Ramirez. That's a good pitch for him. Goldie in Wednesday's win here over the Angels. Homered, singled, doubled, and walked. He begins this series with a 14-game hitting streak. But down 0-2. And strikes out. Another good changeup from Erasmo Ramirez. Gets his first strikeout.
And that's his best secondary pitch. That's his swing and a miss pitch as well. Got Goldie to chase one right there on the outer third of the plate and down.
Well, there was once an entire Seinfeld episode about Suze. Steven Souza Jr., 246, 3 homers. It's not Suze, it's Susie. There's his slider. Ramirez will, as we said, sink it, cut it. He's got the good changeup and the slider. He kind of gets by on guile. He's a crafty righty, if there is such a thing. Fastball in, but gets the call from Ed Hickox, and it's 0-2. Ramirez, a no decision his last time out. That was Saturday against the Dodgers at Safeco Field. He pitched well. Gave up only 1 run in 5 innings. Elevates that fastball just a bit and strikes out Souza.
Yeah, for a guy that just pounds away at the bottom of the zone, that high 4-seamer, even in the low 90s, a very effective pitch. You're used to seeing sinkers down, change-ups down. When he elevates that 4-seamer, it looks so tempting.
Ketel Marte, Pique, which is a reference to a guy that has a whole lot of swagger, and that certainly fits Ketel Marte. 249, 10 home runs. A former Mariner now facing his old team. He floats that slow breaking ball up there and gets a strike. How about that for swag?
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's fairly low key for him.
He's just warming up for Sunday.
It's going to just get gradually more impressive as we go on, I guess. Seager is in a bit at third on the grass. 1-1. Ketel Marte, only 21 years old when he broke into the big leagues with Seattle 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was their everyday shortstop, started about 120 games there for the Mariners. Seattle was the team that signed Marte in the Dominican Republic when he was only 16. He and Robinson Cano tremendously close. That's sort of been his mentor coming up in the big leagues. There's Robbie Cano down at first tonight. He was a real big brother figure for Marte when he was first coming up with Seattle. Changeup is low, 3-1. Slicknick on deck. Ball 4. Ramirez will occasionally get himself into trouble with bases on balls. So a 2-out base runner for Ahmed. Ahmed 240, 16 homers.
We mentioned when talking about Ramirez that he'd given up 7 home runs in just over 19 innings of work. Should be pointed out that 5 of those came in one ball game against the Cleveland Indians back in April.
He's had a tough year, Ramirez. Opened the season on the DL with a right shoulder strain. Didn't make his first start until late April. In fact, made only 2 starts and was whacked at Texas and at Cleveland. Had to go right back on the DL with more shoulder trouble, and he missed all of May, June, and July. Didn't make it back until August 12th, so he's only had 4 starts all year, about 3 months apart. Fastball's a strike, 1-1. Good crowd here tonight on a Friday night in downtown Phoenix. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley, Jody Jackson with you. The first of 3, the D-backs and the Mariners. Robbie Ray goes for the Diamondbacks tomorrow. Zach Greinke on Sunday. There's that cutter. Ramirez trying to fire that cutter down and away from the right-hand batter. 1-2. He's a guy that tries to avoid bats if he can. Cutter diving away from the righty. The changeup darting down. He'll bring that fastball up, as we've mentioned. He's not looking for contact.
Should be the changeup here.
Lifts it into shallow left center, and that drops in. Marte's on the run, and he stops at third. A walk and a single with 2 outs.
Pretty good pitch down low in the zone, diving down. Nick catches it right off the end of the bat. Just gets out there in shallow center field and dies in front of Cameron Maben. Good read by Ketel Marte, easily going first to third.
Well, a chance for Alex Avila. 171 and 6 home runs. He's got Parkman on the back of his jersey. That's a reference to a character from the film Major League 2. The guy that Alex kind of resembles. That's foul behind Dave McKay at first. Did you see Major League 2?
Is that when Parkman got traded to the Indians?
Yes.
Or signed with the Indians, whatever happened, yeah.
There's Alex's bat. He's got a lot going on there. Looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. Good changeup. Down and away to the left-hander, 0-2. Pitcher Zach Godley on deck. There goes Ahmed, and Avila caught looking at a cutter. Ramirez strands 2, still no score. For the top of the third. Who is that guy eating that hot dog? He looks familiar. I don't know. Maybe take a look through Moscan.
Kind of funny looking.
Enjoy the advantages of being a D-backs season ticket holder when you purchase a 2019 season ticket plan. They're on sale right now. Our season ticket holders get early entry into Chase Field, guaranteed seats to the big matchups next year, including visits from the Red Sox, the home opener, by the way, and the Yankees. Also postseason priority. Learn more at dbacks.com/advantages. 2019 season tickets on sale right now. D. Gordon leads off the Mariners third against the Bulls. Zach Godley on this Players Weekend. And Gordon launches one toward the pool. It's off the wall. Sousa's got it. Gordon with that good speed gonna sail over second, overruns the bag, and he is in there. He was thinking hard about 3, just barely made it back.
Wow, D. Gordon showing some power, bangs that ball off the fence out there in front of the Ram Trucks pool. Steven Souza's throw all the way back to third base. I think D. Gordon, you got to give him a double and a half for that. He was over halfway to third base. He saw that throw was going to beat him and slammed on the brakes and beat the relay back to second. Wow.
He can still fly. So the pitcher now, Erasmo Ramirez. Goldie comes in from first.
This could be a tough read for D. Gordon out there at second base. Despite his great speed, you got a guy at the plate that's not used to handling the bat, let alone putting down a sac bunt. And as a runner at second base only, you do not have to advance unless you see that bunt down in a good location.
Escobar near the bag at third. Here comes Goldie from first. I'm not sure Ramirez is going to be able to get a bunt down. He is not a guy that gets up there a whole bunch. Goldie crashes from first once again. Sinker misses away. 2-1. Another sinker. 2-2. Got the leadoff man Haniger on deck. He singled to start off the ball game.
I wouldn't expect him to do anything here while Ramirez is attempting to get down a sac bunt, but D. Gordon is a threat to run at all times. Only Billy Hamilton has more stolen bases over the last 6 seasons than D. Gordon.
Yeah, right now he's tied for the American League lead in steals. He's got 28. And sure enough, Ramirez cannot get the bunt down. Godley gets his second strikeout. So here is Haniger. He homered at Safeco Field in their previous game Wednesday, a loss to Houston. His 20th of the year. Godley, as we know, will try and control the running game by holding the ball, stepping off the rubber. He generally prefers not throwing to the bases. And there goes Gordon. And Godley throws it over Escobar's head, and Gordon scores the game's first run. This was a problem for Zach Godley about a month or so ago against the Colorado Rockies. Throwing to the bases is something he can occasionally struggle with.
Pretty much a design play by D. Gordon. He waited until the throw was in the air back to the mound and then broke for third base. Boy, a good throw gets him by a mile.
So now it's 1-0. 1-0 on Haniger. Boy, Ed Hickox has got a very pitcher-friendly strike zone going here so far. Curveball up. 1-2. Haniger is red hot. He's got a 6-game hitting streak now. He's hitting about .350 this month. An all-star this year for the first time in his career. Lays off a breaking ball. 2-2. He's got a base hit.
Haniger 2 for 2. Third hit for Seattle against Godley.
First baseman, Robbie Cano.
Robbie Cano lined out to left his first time up. Cano has got quite a paint job on his baseball bat. Native of the Dominican Republic. We see the Dominican colors on the barrel of the bat there. It looks like the Dominican flag. There's a bullet by Goldie and into the corner. Haniger headed for third. They will stop him there. And it's a long single for Robbie Cano.
Yeah, Robinson Cano's hit a lot of long singles in his career. Many of them hit the top of the fence and bounce back into play. This one just a bullet through the right side. Steven Souza Jr. hustles over there, gets in pretty good position and holds him to a single that time.
Well, Mike Butcher going to get out there quickly. A throwing error by Godley has opened up a potential big inning for Seattle with a run in and still only one out.
That's a big play by Steven Souza Jr. to hold Cano at first base. Now a ground ball at one of the infielders. You possibly get a double play and get out of this inning with only the one run scored.
Well, we saw Zach last weekend in San Diego have a difficult outing. 6 runs, 8 hits. He walked 4 guys, lasted only 5 innings. A big step back from his 3 previous starts when he'd been nearly dominant against the Rangers, the Phillies, and the Reds. Segura popped up his first time. Mitch Haniger at third, Robinson Cano at first. Marte can't get there. Haniger scores, and it's 2-0 Seattle.
That inside out swing we got so used to seeing last year when Gene Segura was spraying them all over the field for the Diamondbacks. That one just out of the reach of Ketel Marte on into right field. Mariners at first and second with only one out.
Well, 4 of the 5 Seattle batters in this inning have base hits against Godley. This has been a problem for Godley occasionally this year. The big inning. Here's Denard Span, the cleanup man, lined out his first time up. Bounced foul. Godley in his start Saturday at San Diego rolled through the first 3 innings and then suddenly gave up a 3-run 4th followed by a 3-run 5th and long 5th inning, during which Torey Lovullo admitted after the game he probably left Godley in there too long. Should have got him out of there. And Zach in trouble once again here tonight. Cardinals have now taken a 6-0 lead at Colorado. They're in the 5th. Dodgers and Padres just underway in LA. No score in the first. Span is a very patient hitter. He's a guy that sees a lot of pitches.
He's softened up his approach a little bit from that left-handed batter's box. He was a guy that used to stand almost upright in the box and then drop down into an exaggerated crouch as the ball was being delivered, really moving his head a lot as the ball was being thrown. He really softened it up under Edgar Martinez, the hitting coach for the Mariners.
Tell you what, if you're going to have a hitting coach, Edgar Martinez would be a good guy. There
Not
he
bad.
is. He should be in the Hall of Fame. One of, if not the greatest DHs ever, he and David Ortiz. DH is a position. You don't need to get into that debate. Godley behind 3-1. Well, Span has worked it full. Boils a curveball up and away. Span acquired by Seattle near the end of May from Tampa Bay. He'd been traded to the Rays after last season by the Giants. He was part of the package they sent in return for Evan Longoria. He's got Cano at second, Segura at first, and one out. That's a fair ball down the line. This will get Cano home. Segura headed for third. He will stop there. It's an RBI double for Denard. Span. 3-0 Seattle. 4 consecutive hits for the Mariners and 5 in this inning.
Boy, Span waits on the ball so well, especially with 2 strikes. Gets that front foot down and just sits there waiting for the pitch. Just out of Goldie's reach that time, out into the right field corner for an RBI double.
Kyle Seager popped up his first time. Starts him off with a curveball. Seager having a bit of a down season offensively. He's stuck in a 2 for 20 right now. Hitting only about 180 during since the All-Star break. His power numbers are down just a tick. It's this one up in the air over toward right center. Souza on the run. He's got a big arm. Here comes Segura. Here's the throw. He's in there. 4-0 Mariners.
Segura still runs extremely well. There's a long throw from Steven Souza Jr. in right center field that time. Just a tad late.
Now the batter is Cameron Maben. A 4-run Seattle third. Another first pitch curveball from Zach. 0-1. Cardinals really pouring it on at Colorado. It's now 7-0 St. Louis. They're in the 5th. They lead the Rockies. D-backs began play today 1 game ahead of Colorado atop the National League West. Dodgers 4.5 back. LA home tonight against the Padres.
Rich Hill against Clayton Richard in that game.
I guess the rich get Richard. Miles Michaelis, the Cardinals pitcher, had a home run in that game for St. Louis. Two and two on Cameron Maybin. Yes, he went, says Gabe Morales, but the big inning bites Zach Godley once again. A 4-run Seattle third. Don't forget you can participate in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle brought to you by the Arizona Lottery. From home along with the fans here at Chase Field, your chance to win half the pot and help the kids in our community. Get your tickets at dbacks.com/50-50 raffle and look for the winning number on the post-game show. Good crowd here tonight. Over 40,000 expected. Jackpot's already nearly $15,000 as Zach Godley leads off the bottom of the third. I ponied up for our 50-50 tickets, by the way. We're going to have a big jackpot today. Got to get in on this so we could be in for a big payday here tonight. I got the 80 numbers for $20. That's somewhere on that ticket is the winner.
You think?
Well, I hope so. If not, I helped out kids in our community,
There
Little
you
League
go.
programs all over the state of Arizona.
You can't really lose in the 50-50 raffle.
Zach Godley strikes out.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Yeah, the 50-50, as we mentioned the other night, has been a tremendous success. D-backs fans have already won more than $1 million in jackpots this year, which means you've raised over $1 million to support youth baseball and softball programs all over our state. And because our fans have been so great about the 50-50, we've allowed that's allowed us to add 15 new little leagues to our D-backs Give Back Youth Jersey program. We're now up to 111 different baseball and softball leagues.
Now this is what the winning ticket will look like. This is not necessarily the winning ticket. Fingers crossed.
So we have now got, BB, over 65,000 little leaguers and softball players wearing D-backs jerseys and caps in all 4 corners of our state. So don't forget to play along at home this year. And tonight we've had 11 winners who bought their tickets online already this year.
How about that? Of course, we much prefer you to come out here to the ballpark and find those 50-50 people selling the tickets in the stands. But if you can't be out here with us, please join in at home.
Eduardo Escobar. I know somebody that's joining in from home in Seattle. In fact, we got a lovely letter from Tori Cook, big D-backs fan. She was 9 years old when we won the World Series, she wrote, and she has since moved from Arizona to Seattle, but she watches all the D-backs games with her MLB at that premium app.
There you go.
So hopefully Tori is watching this one in Seattle. Tori Cook. Hello, Tori.
Well, one other thing that is absolutely certain tonight, there's a television tuned into our game right now in the Hidden Valley near Cornville.
How's the reception there?
Senator McCain, our prayers are with you, your family, and all your many friends who are gathered around you on the banks of the Oak Creek. Biggest Diamondbacks fan there is.
Absolutely. We miss seeing him here at the ballpark. High fly ball to center. Maben's out there. And there's your shutdown inning for Erasmo Ramirez. D-backs trail Seattle 4-0. Mariners 4-0. Fans catch an MLB doubleheader tomorrow on FS1. First, it's an NL East showdown. Bryce Harper and the Nationals take on the Mets. And then Freddie Freeman and the Braves battle the Marlins. It all starts at 12:30 on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Mike Zunino, the catcher, leads off the Seattle fourth. Zunino right now stuck in a 3-for-40 slump. He's at 191 on the year. Diamondbacks overload the left-hand side against him. No, we didn't, says Gabe Morales. A ball and a strike. Mike Zunino, first-round pick by Seattle in 2012 out of the University of Florida. He's a Gator. Mariners, in fact, that year made him the third pick in the draft. And he was in the big leagues less than a year later. He's put up some good home run numbers over the years, but has struggled to hit consistently. Well, he's a pretty good receiver of the baseball back there. Good pitch framer. Here's a look from Moscam. And he can check his swing on the curveball. Godley gets his 4th strikeout.
That hard curveball starts it on the outside corner, breaks it over into that left-handed batter's box. Zunino swing at that all night long.
Yeah, you kind of get the feeling he will. D. Gordon doubled and scored in that 4-run Mariner 3rd. Goldie in on the grass at first. You talk about Zunino striking out a lot, and Gordon is not a strikeout guy per se, but he is a big time WW. He's got nearly 500 plate appearances this year. He's walked 8 times.
Wow. That is WW.
That's almost impossible. He's got an on-base percentage as a result, which is below 300. Not ideal for a guy with his kind of speed, certainly. See where Escobar is on the grass at 3rd. Goldie at 1st.
You know, Ichiro was a guy that never really walked very much. I mean, more than that, but Ichiro would hit 340 every year.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't need to walk to jump up that on-base percentage.
Yeah, Gordon's hitting less than 240 since the All-Star break, in fact. They brought him to Seattle in December from Miami with the idea they'd make him their everyday center fielder, where he'd never played before. That was a big adjustment for him. He'd always played either second base or shortstop with the Dodgers and the Marlins. And he started about 40 games out there in center, and then Robbie Cano got suspended in the middle of May, and they had to move Gordon back to second base. And he's done really well over there once again. In fact, they've decided to leave him there at second. As Godley gets his 5th strikeout, he's now struck out 3 in a row.
You've heard me say it a million times, partner. Anybody with a bat in their hands is dangerous, but with Zunino, Gordon, and the pitcher spot in that 7, 8, 9 slot for the Mariners, that should be a cruiser inning.
Well, he's got a chance to strike out the side. Ramirez struck out trying to get a bunt down his first time up. Curveball misses up. There's a sinker at 89 from Godley. This would be his 4th consecutive strikeout. 60 pitches, 42 for strikes. Got him. Godley bounces back, gets the side in the 4th, but trails it 4-zip. Now it's time for Lowe's. Whole team together. D-backs led by Goldie and Peralta have been tearing it up offensively in August. Highest batting average per team since August 1st. Diamondbacks third best in baseball. And the freight train's been leading the charge, hitting .426 this month. Goldie right behind. Peralta leads it off in the home half of the fourth. He grounded out his first time up. On this Players Weekend, it's the freight train who starts us off. He has homered in 3 consecutive games. He's hit home runs in 6 of his last 9 games. David Peralta, 25 home runs on the year. We got a terrific letter from Kate Clark and her husband Bill. They're in Apache Junction. Their favorite players, David Peralta.
There you go.
And Kate wrote that she's from a small town in Nebraska. Every time she hears the freight train whistle, it reminds her of home. And the freight train has a base hit. Beaten out. He's there. Gordon tried to rob him. Another tremendous play by D. Gordon at second. But the freight train busted up the line for a single.
Ball's hit hard through the right side, but Gordon playing extremely deep gets to it with a dive. Strong throw on to first base. David hustling as usual down that first base line, legs it out for an infield hit.
Well, Gordon covers so much ground over there. So they got the freight train on the tracks. Safe at first for Goldie. So thanks to Kate and Bill in Apache Junction for your letter. Thanks, guys. Goldie struck out his first time up. Oh boy, Ramirez left that fastball up just a bit. Got away with it. 0-1. Goldie riding a 14-game hitting streak, hitting .448 during his streak with 5 home runs. On the ground is short. Seager, Gordon, and they rolled the double play. Two down for Souza. Stevens struck out back in the second inning. Ramirez, one of these guys who's always trying to keep you off balance. Throws it to both sides of the plate, the sinker, the cutter, the slider, the fastball up a little bit, that good change up down. That was it right there. Souza swings over the top of that change up. 0-2. When he's hitting in spots, he can be very effective. When he's not, it can get ugly quick. But so far so good for him tonight. He's only given up 2 hits. The fastball was in a pretty good spot, but 1-2.
That's that 4-seamer up in the zone. We've seen him go to a couple of times in 2 strike counts.
Base hit just beyond the reach of Seager at third. Souza takes the turn. He's got a 2-out double.
Now, fortunately, the fastball before was not called a strike at the top of the zone. Buys him another pitch, and this time Ramirez hangs one right in the middle of the plate for Steven Souza. He bangs it down in that left field corner for a 2-out double.
Yeah, if you can hang in there long enough on Erasmo Ramirez, he's going to miss his spot eventually and give you something to hit. And Souza got his pitch. Marte walked the first time. This is sliced the other way. Tough play. And Span is able to run it down. Ramirez strands the 2-out double. 4-0 Seattle after 4. The Mariners 4-0. MLB.TV now available at a lower price, $49.99. Lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game and get a free subscription to MLB at Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so check out MLB.TV and take advantage of this special offer. Mitch Haniger, who has singled twice, leads off the Mariner 5th against Zach Godley. Godley struck out the side in the 4th after a 4-run Seattle 3rd. Haniger singled and scored in that inning. Now at 280 on the year. See those numbers: 20 homers and 81 runs batted in. That one is launched and way out of here. Mitch Haniger back in town, is 21st, and it's 5-0 Mariners. And that's something that we have not seen from Zach Godley as of late. The last home run Godley allowed June 26th at Miami.
Boy, on a tee for Mitch Haniger that time. As that high leg kick really spreads out his stride when necessary. Caught that one right on the barrel, sails it over the Diamondbacks bullpen and left.
Zach Godley had not given up a home run in his last 10 games. But Haniger makes it 5-zip. Here's Cano. Cano singled and scored in that 4-run Seattle 3rd. Smoke one down the line in right. Got jammed that time, but it's out of play. Well, don't look now, but the Rockies are coming back on the Cardinals. It was 7-0 St. Louis. It's now 7-5. And they're only in the 6th inning. They're having another crazy Coors Field game there tonight. And there's more bad news. The Dodgers an early 4-0 lead over the Padres. They're in the 2nd inning in LA.
Charlie Blackmon and Nolan Arenado both homering in that 5th inning against Miles Michaelis.
Just foul down the right field line. There's Ron Pennington, our Golden Glover down there. Robbie Cano at first base tonight. I mentioned this earlier. He had never played first ever before this season. He's only made a couple of starts down there for Scott Service. They wanted to leave D. Gordon at second base after they moved him in from center field, so they decided, well, let's try Cano at first. He's also played one game at third this year. Godley gets his 7th strikeout.
Congratulations in order for Joe Mauer of the Minnesota Twins, who passed Rod Carew on the Twins all-time hit list.
Wow.
He's in second place now behind only Kirby Puckett. 218 behind Kirby Puckett.
Of course, Rod Carew had a lot of great years with the Angels after he played in Minnesota. There's a strike to Segura, who had an RBI single in the third. Sky to shallow center. Ahmed is out there. AJ coming in. He's got it for out number 2. Brings up Denard Span.
Left fielder, Denard Span.
Diamondbacks have the shift on the first base side against Span. There's a curveball for a strike. Escobar all by himself on the left there. Seattle 5 runs, 7 hits. Diamondbacks no runs, 3 hits. Mitch Haniger, former Diamondback, is having a big night back at Chase Field. 2 singles and a home run. He's 3 for 3. That was the part of that trade that, from the Seattle perspective, they liked the most. They were very happy to get Gene Segura. And they really liked Mitch Haniger, thought he could be a part of their everyday outfield. Diamondbacks got in that deal a couple of years ago Ketel Marte and Taijuan Walker back. And Haniger's turned into an all-star outfielder for the Mariners. He just keeps getting better. 27 years old. He'll be 28 in December. Ketel Marte makes a nice pick at second. But Haniger's homer makes it 5-0 Seattle.
5-0 as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Time to take a look at this day in baseball history, brought to you by Geico. You remember this one, partner, back in 2013.
Oh, yeah.
Diamondbacks and Phillies played 18 innings, 7 hours and 6 minutes. Combined for 137 at-bats, 35 hits in that ball game. 32 strikeouts, 28 walks. That was a 12-7 D-backs victory.
I remember Trevor Cahill coming out of the bullpen on like 2 days rest and getting the win, I think, in relief. Here's Nick Ahmed to lead off the 5th. And the worst part about that game was that they closed off the ice cream in about the 5th or 6th inning.
I think everything was closed in Philadelphia by the time that game ended.
And they got tremendous ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
At Citizens Bank Park, but we ran out. Nick Ahmed, his second hit tonight, starts us off in the 5th.
Seems like Josh Colome warmed up about 11 times in that ball game that night. Every time we looked down there, he was throwing in the bullpen, either in earnest, getting ready to come into the ball game, or just playing catch just in case.
Well, Alex Avila steps up now with Ahmed at first. Let's go down to Jody.
Parkman is, of course, the nickname for Alex Avila here. I asked him where he got it. He said back in 2011 at the All-Star game right here at Chase Field, Adrian Gonzalez just said, look, you look like Parkman. And it stuck. And ever since then, a bunch of the guys kind of grabbed onto it. And now he's stuck with that nickname.
Now, that is a character from the second Major League movie, which was not as good as the first. Bullpen starting to get busy for the Diamondbacks with Avila just ahead of Godley in the batting order. Matt Andriese warms up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Godley's spot to up 3rd in this inning. He is in the on deck circle. Mariners have the shift on.
And just thinking about that, the ice cream in Philly, it's not like Frankie Two Scoops to leave the ballpark early. Even in an extra inning ball game, Frankie usually hangs around.
He's a celebrity, the ice cream man in Philly. You see the patches on the sleeves. Alex Avila has written down Mom and Dad. That's a nice touch right there. Everybody can write down a thank you to someone on the patch of these Players Weekend jerseys. Everybody, you see a lot of family, mom and dad, uncle, mom and dad, a coach along the way, a friend, someone who helped them get to the big leagues, which is a really nice idea. Everybody's got something written down. Torrey has mom and dad on his. And a nice touch also not to print them out. The player or the coach has to actually take a pen and write it down on there, which is nice. Personalizes it a little bit more. One and two. As always against Avila or Parkman, the entire left side of the field is left wide open. Seager, the third baseman, is standing where the shortstop would normally be, and there is no one over there to his right. Trying to get him to bite on that changeup. Full count, 3-2. Godley, the pitcher, on deck. There is action in the bullpen with Andriese warming up. Avila caught looking at a cutter as Ramirez sneaks it through the back door. And Godley goes back to the dugout. His night will end here, and it looks like John Jay coming up to hit.
Now, 2 outs, nobody on base. Maybe Zach Godley gets the at bat, but with a runner on, trailing by 5, you got to score. You got to get back in this game somehow. So Godley will be taken down in favor of John Jay. 305 Jay.
305, a reference to the area code for Miami-Dade County.
As John Jay represents the U along with Jody Jackson. Matt Andriese ready in the bullpen, so he will pitch in the top of the 6th. John Jay 277 and 3 homers. Hitting for the pitcher Godley. We talk about representing the U. He's got his hurricane shoes on.
Ooh.
I think Jody has a pair of those. She's another University of Miami person. If not, she should. Jay should have hooked her up. It's all about the U, BB. There's that good Ramirez changeup. That's been an effective pitch for him all night long. 0-2.
Got to be particularly disturbing for Mike Zunino behind the plate, who went to the University of Florida.
Good call. That's a base hit. Ahmed will head for third. There on the corners with 1 out for AJ.
Well, as much as sometimes you don't want to take that pitcher down at this juncture of the ball game, as I said, you've got to score to get back into this game, and this is exactly how Torrey hoped it would go. If I have to hit for Zach Godley, whoever it is, I hope they come up with a base hit. We'll roll around to the top of the order and try to link some at bats and build an inning here.
Well, Pollock is twice grounded out. He's 0 for 2, batting leadoff. First pitch swinging. Way out there in right is Maben. Here comes Ahmed, and the Diamondbacks are on the board. Well, you can't hit a 5-run homer, so just chip away and get them when you can. 2 down now for Escobar, who's 0 for 2. Starts him off with that changeup. Escobar riding a 6-game hitting streak. He's done most of his damage this year from the left-hand side of the plate, switch hitter.
Congratulations in order for Eduardo Escobar and Paul Goldschmidt, both recipients of the Heart and Hustle Award. Goldie for the Diamondbacks, Eduardo Escobar for the Twins earlier this season. Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association honors active players who demonstrate a passion for the game of baseball and best embody the value, spirit, and traditions of the game. Congratulations to both Eduardo Escobar and Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah, he's been a wonderful addition. His nickname on Players Week in El de la Pica, which is a region in Venezuela where he's from, representing a part of his native country. 2 balls and a strike. Oh, gets a good look at that cutter. That was how Pete Rose used to take pitches right there.
Track him all the way back into the mitt.
3-1. You've got the freight train on deck. Goldie behind him. Let's try and keep this thing going here. That's a ground ball, but the shift is on. Gordon's right there. And that ends the inning. But the Diamondbacks get one. They trail it 5-1.
D-backs trail Seattle. Calling all Wildcats. D-backs U of A night coming up September 6th. You can get this custom D-backs U of A cap and a discounted baseline reserve ticket for only $25, modeled by the lovely Bob Brenly here. You need our special event ticket pack. You'll find that at dbacks.com/Wildcats. That's the U of A logo, D-back colors.
So you can wear the D-backs A, or if you wear your hat like Pedro Strop, you could show the U of A A.
That's a nice looking cap. That'll go over big in Tucson. Matt Andriese is on to start the 6th inning. In relief of Zach Godley, he'll face Kyle Seager, Cameron Maben, Mike Zunino, 5, 6, and 7 in the Mariners' 6th. You know, we got a lot of stuff in the mail from our D-back fans who have written in, and I got one job application I'm supposed to give you.
Really?
Yeah, a guy wrote us, applied for a job on your staff.
Oh boy.
Yeah. John Winchell from Scottsdale wrote us a letter. He says he wants to obtain a position as chief of staff for Mr. Bob Brenly.
Wow.
So he wants to go right to the top. He said there's a resume in here. I have no formal education that would be helpful in assisting Mr. Brenly.
Perfect.
I thought you might like that.
He's overqualified.
Well, comparatively speaking. His experience, this might seal it for you. He has worked in the past as a pizza delivery guy.
Oh man, you're hired. Name your salary.
Under birthplace, he lists not Ohio. He has been to Athens, Greece, not Ohio.
Oh, close second.
And under job skills, he says, I know how to pronounce Berthium. You might be the only one. So there you go. John Winchell. I'll leave this with the other members of your staff may burn it, but John,
I know where that's going to end up.
Thank you for your letter, and we'll let you know. We'll put it in the stack. I think the applications might start pouring in now. It's a very prestigious position.
Limited number of positions on my staff, so
we'll just have to increase the budget from 0 to 0.
We'll double it.
That's right. Whatever they're paying you over there, whatever Brenly's paying you, I'll double it. Two and two.
Another nice letter from Lori. I believe it's Housefus. She lives in Iowa. Her dad lives here in Arizona, and they watch the games in two separate states.
Oh,
and
that's neat.
Dad, who's 86 years old, was a former baseball coach. So Laura says many times Dad has to explain what's going on in the game, and her favorite player is Daniel Descalso. So thank you for your nice letter, Lori.
That's a cool way to watch Diamondbacks baseball. I like that. Still 2 and 2 on Seager. This is headed for left center. AJ's on the run. Oh!
I didn't think there was any way AJ would catch up to that ball without at least a diving attempt, but he shifts it into another gear right there and just outruns that ball. What a play. Tremendous amount of ground covered. He started in right center, makes that running catch in the gap in left center.
One out for Maben, who struck out twice against Zach Godley. And Andriese, after coming over from Tampa Bay, will be familiar with some of these Seattle hitters. And they with him. Good crowd here tonight on the first game, Players Weekend 2018. This is an odd result for the Diamondbacks. They had Monday off this week. Came back, beat the Angels on Tuesday. And now facing Seattle after yesterday's off day. Torey Lovullo's ball club this year 12-5 after a day off. But they trail it 5-1. Two and two on Maben. Mike Zunino on deck.
Well, that's what you hope after an off day, that your team comes back refreshed and ready to go and get after it once again. That's not always the case. Sometimes teams are very sluggish coming off of off days.
Yes, he went, says Gabe Morales. And Matt Andres has the strikeout, 2 down.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
The catcher, Mike Zunino, who appropriately just has Z on the back of his. D-backs overload the third base side against him. Mention our big crowd here tonight. It looks like we got north of 40,000 with us. I know one fan is here. Trudy Thompson is here. She's an avid, faithful Scottsdale D-backs fan. She said, sent us a letter, said I'll be at the game August 24th. So Trudy is out there somewhere.
I can hear her.
She's here with a bunch of people from her church, First Baptist Church of Scottsdale. So nice going, Trudy. Thanks for coming out. A lot of celebrities here with us tonight. There's a slider from Andres, and it's 1-2. Lays off a fastball up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The speedy D. Gordon would be next. High fly ball, deep right field. Souza's at the wall, and that one goes. Mike Zunino, that's his 18th. Make it 6-1. And for Zunino, that snaps a 3-for-41 skid.
It's an elevated fastball right down the heart of the plate. We talked about Zunino. He's got big time power when he makes contact. Hits that one just over the 376 mark in right center.
Here's Gordon, who has doubled and struck out. Goldie comes in on the grass at first. Slaps that one down the line. It's not so much the bunt that you're always worried about with Gordon, although he can certainly do that, but he leads the major leagues in infield hits this year. So you got to get to it early when it comes at you on the ground, because with that speed he can beat it out, even a routine ground ball. 0-2.
We talked about the same thing when we played the Reds and Billy Hamilton. Not only do you have to protect against the bunt with your corner infielders and your pitcher, but the middle infielders have to shorten up a step or two, because a routine ground ball might be legged out for an infield hit.
Just like that, Escobar at third. Gordon makes it close. Mariners add 1. They lead it 6-1.
Spanish broadcasts continue on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. Game 2 of the Mariners. The great Oscar Soria and Rodrigo Lopez on the call. There they are. Hi, guys. Coverage in Spanish starts at 5 o'clock. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. And streaming live on Fox Sports Go. You can find your Plus channel listing at foxsportsarizona.com. The freight train leads it off. He has grounded out and singled 1 for 2. Diamondbacks have been stymied by Erasmo Ramirez, who is winless in 4 starts this year. So far, he's given up only 1 run on 5 hits. He's walked only 1 batter, and he's got 5 strikeouts. Dodgers now have a 7-0 lead on San Diego. They're in the 4th inning in LA. Rockies trailing at home against the Cardinals. It's 7-5 St. Louis. They're in the 7th. 1-2.
David Peralta still carrying the highest batting average in the National League against right-handed pitching this season at .330.
Wow.
And the National League highest average at home. He's #1 with a .358 average here at Chase Field. Just a little bit ahead of Nolan Arenado, who's hitting .355 at Coors this year.
Those are the 2 ballparks with the highest elevations in Major League Baseball. Colorado 1. Arizona 2. Goldie on deck. And David waves at that changeup. Up and away. 6 strikeouts for Ramirez.
It's been his go-to pitch all day. 2 strike counts.
Well, Goldie has struck out and hit into a double play. He's had a tough night so far. Trying to extend a 14-game hitting streak. Ramirez at 70 pitches, 50 strikes. Well, I'll say this. Ed Hickox has been very consistent all night long, the plate umpire, but anything that's even close to the strike zone, every borderline pitch has been a strike. And that's really helped Ramirez tonight, because that's kind of where he needs to live. Chases a changeup. 0-2.
Well, my staff has branched out into geography.
Oh, that can't be good.
Recently. Coors the highest elevation in Major League Baseball. Arizona the 2nd highest. How about the 3rd highest?
Ooh, that's a good call. Give me what league?
National League. I'll just tell you, I guessed Pittsburgh because I had always heard Pittsburgh
because
was
the
a
booth
lot
is so
higher
high.
than the booth. Yeah.
What do you got?
It's Atlanta.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Who knew?
The old launching pad.
Wow, between the elevation and the humidity, no wonder. Goldie right at Segura. And Cano can make the scoop. He's new to first base. He's never played there before. And Goldie's aboard.
Almost hit hard to Gene Segura on the backhand. Has to go down to a knee to make that play. Just winds up and fires it in the dirt to Robbie Cano. Look at this swipe. He didn't come close to that one.
They give Segura the error, E6 on the throw. So Goldie aboard with 1 out for Souza, who doubled his last time up.
It usually goes unnoticed, so I will point it out that Mike Zunino did hustle down there and back up that play to keep Goldie at first base.
That's foul behind Tony Perez Chica coaching at third.
You know, partner, we know the players enjoy Players Weekend. They get to put their nickname on the back, but it meant a little extra something for Mike Trout this year. He lost his brother-in-law, Aaron Cox, just a little over a week ago at the age of 24. And Mike Trout put A. Cox on the back of his jersey tonight and tripled in his first at bat.
Just came off the DL, Mike Trout, right?
Yep.
Good for him. Lines it to center. Maven is there. Angels at home tonight, hosting the Astros. 2 down for Ketel Marte, the former Mariner, who's walked and flied out. We were talking with Torrey in his office before the game tonight, and we were asking him, okay, if you had to sort of summarize the way things have gone so far. He said, hey, first place, you'll take it every time, but the offense is it's been okay. It's not been great. They haven't had quite the type of offensive year that they projected to have, and we're running into a bit of that here tonight. But the way the pitching has picked things up and the way the defense has picked things up, it's helped the Diamondbacks get to 15 games over 500 and on top of the NL West. But this is another one of those nights where you just wonder, you know, this wasn't quite the offense they'd hoped for. Even though a lot of the offensive numbers for some of the individual players have been outstanding. The guys have been hurt. Souza missed a whole bunch of games. AJ, no Jake Lamb, of course, for virtually most of the year.
Asked a tough question on a radio show this afternoon. Who is the most valuable player for the Diamondbacks right now? I had to go with David Peralta. I mean, Goldie had that extended slump early in the season, and what he's done since that slump ended has been incredible and might get him the National League MVP award. But
there's a base hit for Marte. Goldie digging for third. Marte's in at second.
But other than a couple of speed bumps here or there, David Peralta has just been hitting the ball hard ever since Salt River Fields. Speaking of hitting the ball hard, Ketel Marte rips a line drive down into that right field corner. Mitch Haniger just decides to throw the ball back into the cutoff man. Try to hold Goldie at third base right there. Marte ends up at second with his 21st double of the season.
Well, for what it's worth, I would agree with you. Goldie since June the 1st is batting .360.
Yeah.
So he's been off the charts. Here's Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, former D-back, out to talk to Ramirez. But I agree, Bob. I give it to David because of the consistency.
Yeah. And this is a very tough game to be consistent for 6 months. So like I said, there have been a couple little speed bumps here or there for David, but they never last very long, and he comes out of them hitting ropes just like he did before the mini slump.
Well, got to take advantage here. Second and third, 2 outs, down 5. Ahmed is 2 for 2. He's got Goldschmidt at third, Marte at second. Nick, twice against Ramirez, has been able to get the ball to left center for base hits. One more of those right here, you can cut the lead in half. 1-1. Bullpen busy. Avila on deck, pitcher spot behind that. TJ McFarland in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Seattle's bullpen starts to get hot as well. They're getting busy down there. The veteran lefty Zach Duke for the Mariners. Up the middle, Gordon snuffs it out, spins and throws. Another bad throw. Goldie scores. Here comes Marte, and it's 6-3. Well,
Cano earlier in this inning could not scoop a low throw from Segura. That was an E6. Now Gordon fires the scud.
Well, I've said it many times watching Paul Goldschmidt over there at first base. Sometimes you take it for granted, but when you have a first baseman that can't make those plays, it sticks out like a sore thumb. A couple of balls that normally would have been picked over there at first base get away from Cano. Diamondbacks creeping back into this game.
Just the third start ever at first base for Robinson Cano. He'd never played over there before this year. So here's Avila, who has struck out twice against Ramirez. Hold to Cano. Ramirez gets over there to cover. And that ends the inning. But the Diamondbacks get two. They trail it 6-3. In half. Fans arrive early to the game Saturday, September 8th, Hispanic Heritage Day. It's presented by Bud Light. You'll enjoy a pregame D-backs APS Fiesta from 2 to 5 with food, live music, and more. And the first 20,000 fans get this: the Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead. This has got the Luchador mask. It's got the cape and cowl, Marte on the back right there.
Yeah.
This is a must-have if you're a bobblehead nut like I am.
The box is almost as cool as the bobblehead. It's got some of his various footwear that he features. He's got purple cleats. He's got white cleats with red laces, red cleats, teal cleats.
That is courtesy of Pepsi. Get your tickets, dbacks.com. Saturday, September 8th. Ketel Marte Luchador bobblehead day. Pitcher spot leads it off for the Mariners. Ben Gamel is up there, 292 and a home run, hitting for the pitcher. So Ramirez is done after 6. And Andres out there for his second inning of work. Punches that one fair down the line and in the corner. Ben Gamel, who's done a really good job as a pinch hitter this year, as a double to lead it off.
A nice controlled swing by Gamel. Got his weight out on the front foot, but kept his hands back and slashed that ball down the left field line for that leadoff double.
He is now 6 for 13 as a pinch hitter this year. So he's at second, nobody out. Haniger's had a big night. The former D-back has singled twice and homered. He's 3 for 3. This was Haniger to lead off the 5th against Zach Godley. His 21st of the year. And the first home run Godley had given up since June 26th. He'd not given up a home run in 10 straight games. Well, they've hit for the pitcher. We saw Zach Duke up earlier. Now it's the right-hander Nick Vincent, who looks like he'll get the bottom of the 7th inning. Waves at that cut changeup from Andriese, who gets his 2nd strikeout.
Haniger had been 3 for 3 before that at bat. 92-mile-an-hour fastball to start it. Fouled off a 93-mile-an-hour heater and then chases that changeup, cutting away from him in the dirt, low and away for strike 3. Our nationwide vision center's eye on the game.
Robinson Cano singled and scored in that 4-run Seattle 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Gamble down there at 2nd. Cano suffered a broken bone in his right hand on May 14th, and it was right about that time when he got hit with an 80-game suspension without pay for testing positive for a banned substance. They found a diuretic that is often used as a masking agent in urine tests, and the suspension cost Cano about $12 million. So he was out for 80 games. He's making $24 million a year. He said the substance was given to him by a licensed doctor in the Dominican Republic to treat a medical ailment, and that he has never taken a performance enhancing substance and would never do that, but he had to sit out for half the year. That's when the Mariners had to move some pieces around. They moved Gordon back in from center, put him at 2nd. And now Scott Service like Gordon at 2nd base so much they want to leave him there. They're not quite sure what to do with Robbie Cano. They started him at a game this week at 3rd base. He's had a game here and there at 1st base where he's never played before, so they're not sure where he's going to fit in now, but they got to figure something out because they owe him a whole bunch more money.
Well, it's not hard to figure out why Scott Service likes D. Gordon at 2nd. He's made some plays in this game already, covering a tremendous amount of ground on that right side, something that Robbie Cano just can't do at this stage of his career.
Yeah, Cano kind of moves like a first baseman now. He's 35 years old. He'll be 36 in October, Robbie Cano. And he still has, after this season, 5 years and $120 million left on his deal. That's after this year. Ouch.
Ouch is right.
1-2. And he's been a great player, a very graceful player, great years with the Yankees, 9 seasons there. And he hit the free agent market, and Seattle decided to let's just throw a whole truckload of money at him and see him if he'll sign, and he did.
I think everybody was a little shocked that he left the Big Apple to go to Seattle. I mean, you talk to people around baseball who have played or coached or managed in Seattle, they'll tell you they're never going to win anything. The travel is just so exhausting. Every trip they make is forever.
Yeah, they're isolated up there, that's for sure. That one
Goes to Ahmed, who almost collides with Marte, and Gamble moves up to third. They have great fan support in Seattle. It's a beautiful ballpark, Safeco Field. One of the best in baseball for me. Fortunately, nobody got hurt on that one. But the travel has been an issue for some of the players, these long flights.
I mean, you think about it, every trip they make other than the West Coast, they lose time. You're flying cross country many times, going from as far west as you can get in Seattle, flying all the way across the country, losing all that time. It's got to take a toll on the body clock.
They'll give Seager the free pass and work to Span. Yeah, they're flying to Texas all the time. They're in the same division with both the Rangers and the Astros. And that's from Seattle. That's a haul. And this year they put together a tremendous offensive lineup. The pitching hasn't quite been there for them. They're still certainly in the discussion. 16 games over 500 and only 4 games out of a wild card spot. Span had an RBI double in the third. He's 1 for 3. It's not often the Yankees get outbid, especially for one of their own. It was in the prime of his career, Robbie Cano, but they did, and that's what the Mariners felt they needed to do to make it more attractive for some free agents. We played obviously the American League West this year for Interleague, and it was disappointing to learn in the offseason that we would not be going to Seattle this year, because that's a tremendous stop. That ballpark is spectacular.
You know, the weather can be a little dicey up there in the Pacific Northwest from time to time, but when you catch good days in Seattle, it doesn't get any better.
If you just put up with all those Seahawks fans, you'll be fine. Of course, one of the most popular teams in Seattle now, the Sounders. I mean, they pack them into those soccer games in Seattle, Portland. They love their Seattle Sounders up there. That's a big deal. Oh, and 2. Mariners have out hit the Diamondbacks 9-6. They lead at 6-3. Kyle Seager, the on deck hitter. The skipper, Scott Service. His team with one more win this year than the Diamondbacks. They're 72-56. D-backs 71-56. Segura takes off. He'll take second uncontested. The biggest crowds of the year here tonight. This place is packed. First of three, D-backs and Mariners.
The announced attendance here at the ballpark tonight, 43,867. That would be the fourth biggest crowd this season here at Chase Field.
Wow. Big Friday night fireworks show coming up. Span putting up a fight. He's a tough out.
Yeah, opening day there was 48,700 plus. Father's Day there was 47,900. And on the 4th of July, just over 44,000. So this game ranks fourth this season here at Chase Field.
Great to see the fans get behind this ball club, leading the division in an absolute dogfight for a postseason spot with half the National League. Every game matters. Still 2-2 on Denard Span. And Andres wins the battle. And strands two. We stretch and Chase 6-3 Seattle. Chase Field on a Friday night. Players Weekend. D-backs trail the Mariners 6-3. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Two more games coming up this weekend before we hit the road. Robbie Ray gets the start tomorrow. That's a 5:10 start. Diamondbacks live pregame show at 4:30 on Fox Sports Arizona. And then it's Zach Greinke on Sunday afternoon against the Sun Devil Mike Leake. Right now it's Nick Vincent, the right-hander, on from the Mariner bullpen to work the bottom of the 7th inning. And John Ryan Murphy will hit for the pitcher Andres to start it off for the D-backs. Gamble stays in the game, takes over in left field for Denard Span. John Ryan 205, 9 homers. Murphy 2 for 18 as a pinch hitter this year. The choir boy, well, he looks like a choir boy. He's got that face. And Murphy strikes out on a high cutter to start off the 7th. So Vincent strikes out the first batter he faces. He's batting 4th in the Mariners order. Gamble hits 9th after the double switch. Here's AJ, who drove in a run with a 5 all his last time up. 1-1. Did you check the mail today?
Oh, yeah.
It was a weird day. We got your job application, which was fun. Got some other stuff in there. That was right to Gordon. We got a wedding invitation.
What?
Yeah, did you see this? From Jess and Scott, who are getting married. This is the real deal. This is lovely, by the way, Jess. You did a wonderful job with your RSVPs. Save the dates. On November 10th, they're getting married. So Jess and Scott, Bob and Steve, you guys are with us in our living room for every D-backs game, so we figured you're part of the family. We better invite you to our wedding. Love you guys. Go D-backs. Jess and Scott getting married on November 10th, 4 o'clock. So set your calendar. We got the rehearsal dinner at the Biltmore. Very nice.
Yeah, candlesticks always make a nice gift.
Maybe place setting, find out where she's registered.
Find out where she's registered.
Yeah, we got the RSVP and the whole thing. I'll have to check my schedule, but you're probably wide open. That was very nice. This is did a wonderful job picking out everything. Invitation, the RSVP, the whole thing. So thank you guys. It was awfully nice of you.
Yeah, that's a first. I can't remember ever being invited to a wedding before. Got another letter from Jay and Yvonne Mast in Prescott Valley.
Well, Vincent makes short work of the Diamondbacks in the 7th at 6-3 Seattle. And leading the National League West, every game is critical, so get your tickets now for some big games coming up, fans. Don't miss these. As we head into September, the Cubs will be here September 17th through the 19th. Then the Rockies and the Dodgers. I mean, these are going to be enormous games. So come on down to the ballpark. Get on the pennant bandwagon. Tickets now, dbacks.com. It's going to be an incredible month of D-backs baseball in September, with the Rockies and the Dodgers breathing down our necks. TJ McFarland out there to start the 8th. Kyle Seager will lead it off. Seager drove in a run with a sac fly in the 3rd. He's 0 for 2. We have to get Jess and Scott something for their wedding, don't we? If we can't make it, we have to check our calendars. But maybe send them a Bob Brenly bobblehead or something.
Oh, there you go.
As a wedding gift. I mean, what better wedding gift than that?
What a thrill for the young couple.
I'm not sure I trust your staff with that one. This is blasted at Souza and right. You were saying you had a letter a minute ago.
Yeah, I had a letter from Jacob, excuse me, Jacob J. Mast and Yvonne Mast, just saying how much they enjoy listening to the games. They root for the Diamondbacks. Both spent some time back in Ohio in the day, but the thing that really grabbed me, Jacob Mast is a big-time horseshoe pitcher. He says he participates in local, state, and world tournaments.
Wow.
Big time.
You could use a lucky horseshoe in the booth. That would go nicely in here, I think. How's your scoring of the game going, by the way?
It's okay. It could probably be a little better, but I'm doing all right.
I think we can help you with that because John and Julie and Sean Adams from Gilbert sent us something. I don't know what's going on with the mail. We got all kinds of stuff today, but they sent you a small version of Wonder Boy. How about this?
Well, a lot of work on the box. Wonder Bob, pick me out a winner, Bobby.
We got
the lightning bolt on it.
The letter from the Adams, and it says, Bob and Steve, my wife Julie and I, along with our 12-year-old son Sean, big fans. They try and watch all the games on TV, and they attend every Saturday home game. They're a D-backs season ticket holder. Here's Escobar, and they get Maben. So they have one of the mini plans, and they're at all the Saturday games, and Julia keeps score. And they've done that the last 3 or 4 years, but they know that you like the multicolored pen. And so they have sent you Wonder Bob. Pick me out a winner, Bobby. And that looks like a really sweet pen.
I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure this writes upside down. This is the kind the astronauts use.
Oh, like the Jack Klumpus pen.
Yeah, this is a beauty.
Here's Mike Zunino, who homered his last time up.
This might be a playoff only 4-color pen.
Yeah, I mean, you guys shouldn't be spending your money on this kind of stuff because that had to be expensive.
Yeah, I mean the box itself. Well, see, that had a note on the inside. I missed it. The ultimate 4-color scorebook pen from John, Julie, and Sean Adams. Go D-backs.
Very nice.
Yeah, and this pen is slick.
They're from Gilbert, so thank you guys. Nice job.
Nicely done.
I said, Bob, I know how frustrating an undependable writing utensil can be. I think they were drawn to your World Cup bracket because there were so many crossouts and changes.
Adjustments.
Yeah,
they're called adjustments.
I think they figured, well, you needed a new pen, and so there it is. That was nice. Take the pen, Jerry. Want to know? Well, the Cardinals are hanging on at Coors Field. St. Louis still leads Colorado 7-5. They're in the 9th. The Dodgers are just pounding on San Diego. It's 9-0 LA in the 6th.
I have to give a shout out here to Bob Latzo, Latzo from Sun City West, fellow Mid-America Conference catcher.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah, he caught for Toledo back in the late 50s, early 60s, and he's a man after my own heart. Get off my lawn.
What's his beef?
Oh, everything. You name it. Starting pitching, not working deep enough into the ball game. Boy, it just goes on and on. I'm with you, Bob. A lot of this stuff strikes a nerve. And he mentioned some names that he played against for Ohio University back in the day. Some names I do recognize. So thank you very much, Bob Latzo from Sun City West.
You former catchers are so cranky. You're a cranky lot. D. Gordon. Boy, TJ put that in a really nice spot. I love TJ's nickname. His player's weekend jersey nickname. That's next level. Return of the Mac. Last year he was Mac. This year he's Return of the Mac. So it's the sequel.
They could barely fit that on the back of the shirt. That's what my jersey looked like in Little League with all the letters. Last year Mac, this year return of the Mac. I wonder what it'll have next year.
Yeah.
Mac 3.
Can't wait to see it.
See, you would have had it easy on Players Weekend. You just could have put BB back there.
Boom.
Everything would have been fine. Sinker is low.
I had a player when I was with the San Francisco Giants, a pitcher by the name of William Van Landingham.
Oh, I remember him.
Yeah, I still think that might be the longest last name in the history of the game.
2-2. Diamondbacks will have the big boys coming up in the home half of this inning. Peralta, Goldie, Souza, 3, 4, and 5. They've been out hit 9-6. They trail it 6-3.
I stand corrected. Jared Saltalamacchia.
Wow. Former D-back great.
Yeah, longest last name.
This is tapped to second. Marte the short way. Ahmed gets the force on Zunino. Peralta, Goldie, Souza coming up.
Talk about Zach Godley and that errant throw. It looked like he never recovered in that inning.
No, he never really did. It felt like he got flustered and just lost focus and couldn't get the ball where he wanted to. Total 4 runs on 5 hits in that inning, and you know, again, just didn't recover very well at all quickly.
But lots of baseball left. In fact, Stephen Bob, as we get it back to you, the heart of the order coming to the plate.
That's right, guys. They'll do it against the new pitcher for the Mariners. It's the right-hander Alex Colome, who was acquired along with Denard Span in a trade with Tampa Bay back at the end of May. He has been a big addition to this Mariner bullpen. Seattle this year is 30-4 when Colome appears at a game. And he's got the big boys coming up. Peralta, Goldie, Souza. David had singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Fastball misses down and away. 1-0. Peralta hitting .426 in August with 9 home runs. He's homered in 3 straight games. He's homered in 6 of his last 9 games. Chases a cutter well below the knees, and it's 1-2. This is a guy who's really tough with his stuff on left-handers as a right-hand pitcher. Lefty's hitting only 179 against him this year. And Hickok's trying to fix the plate. One ball and 2 strikes. Mariners have the shift on against Peralta, who chases another low cutter and strikes out.
A D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Well, Goldie needs a base hit here, or his hitting streak will end at 14. He has struck out. He's hit into a double play and reached on a throwing error. It must be the way the ball comes out of his hand, the action on the pitch, but they are just chasing these cutters down there in the dirt against Colome. There's another one. He just keeps firing them in down there, and they keep chasing. It's 0-2.
Unusual delivery from Colome. It looks like he's going to throw out of the stretch. Then he goes into an abbreviated windup. Then he goes into a full windup.
He's been very effective for him. Goldie chases one more down there. 2 down in the 8th.
None of them close to the strike zone. You're right. They're just not picking up the rotation on the ball out of his hand, or the rotation appears to be a straight fastball, and then that late cutting action is getting some real feeble looking swings.
Souza doubled in the 4th. Steven 1 for 3 tonight. Colome, up until about a week ago, had run a scoreless streak of 19 consecutive appearances. He went 19 straight without giving up a run. He's got 23 holds since coming over from Tampa Bay, and they have not been able to lay a finger on him so far. It's 1-1. He had been closing games in Tampa Bay, came over to Seattle with 11 saves in his back pocket on May 25th. In there for a strike, 1-2. See these players' weekend jerseys, they're designed to look like the jerseys you'd get as a little leaguer. They want the little leaguers to identify with the major leaguers, so these are the design of the jerseys kind of has a little league look to them on purpose. It's part of the idea of Players Weekend. Have some fun. Full count, 3-2. Here it is. He walked him. That's just the second base on balls issued to Diamondback hitters tonight. Brings up Ketel Marte.
Both of the walks have come with 2 outs in the inning. Ketel Marte drew a base on balls back in the second after Goldie and Souza struck out. This inning, Souza reaches on the walk after Goldie and Peralta had struck out to start the inning.
Ketel has walked, as you mentioned. He doubled and scored in the 6th. He's got Souza down there at first and 2 outs. Fastball off the plate. Ed Hickok's strike zone has been a little wide tonight, but consistent. That one's there at 94, and it's 0-2. Ed Hickok's by nature, if you look at his history, does go a little bit wider to the outside than most of the umpires, and we've seen that a lot tonight. Got that one in that time on Marte, that cutter.
2 4-seam fastballs away and then tries to come inside with the cutter that time. Marte just fights it off, pulls a foul down that first baseline.
Nick Ahmed hoping to get a chance. D-backs looking for base runners. Down 3 with 2 outs in the 8th. Marte lays off that low cutter. That's the pitch that Peralta and Goldie struggled with. And he's back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Center field, Maben's out there. Colome strands the 2-out walk. It stays 6-3 Seattle. ninth inning. Don't forget, fans, if you can't watch the D-backs games on your TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app, take Fox Sports Arizona, and your D-backs with you wherever you go. There is some good news here. The Rockies have lost. Cardinals 7-5 winners at Coors. So there's that. Dodgers have a 9-0 lead over the Padres in LA. They're in the 7th. Here's Ben Gamel, who leads off the 9th. That is now a final, and that is getting ugly. Dodgers have scored 9 times. Gamel doubled when he hit for the pitcher to lead off the 7th. He remained in the ball game, took over in left field for Span. Wouldn't lay off that slider down. It's 0-2. Well, Seattle fans 4 games out of an AL wildcard spot, trailing the Yankees and the A's. They're not getting any good news. The Yankees beat Baltimore 7-5, and the Fighting Bob Melvins 7-1 winners at Minnesota tonight. So if they do indeed hang on, the Mariners won't pick up any ground in the playoff race. Seattle's been actually sputtering a little bit lately. They are 17-25 since July the 4th. They've not played all that well lately. The pitching has been tough for them. But Ramirez was up to the task here tonight.
You know, partner, for the longest time it seemed assured that the Baltimore Orioles were going to end up with the worst record in Major League Baseball this year.
Someone challenging?
Yeah. Baltimore, with their loss tonight, go to 37-91.
Padres?
Kansas City, who won tonight, they were 38-90 going into play tonight. Only slightly better than the Orioles.
Yes, he went. That's Jerry Meals at third. And TJ gets his first strikeout. You saw in the bullpen for Seattle, Edwin Diaz, and he has been almost unhittable all year long. The Mariners closer, who gets a save seemingly every night, whether they win or lose. Here's Haniger, who has singled twice and homered.
I don't know that I've ever seen a team before where the closer had the most appearances on the team.
He's
62 appearances already.
He's unbelievable, Diaz. He is just ridiculous. Edwin Diaz, the Mariners are 52-0 in his 52 save opportunities. That's pretty good. So he's getting cranked up down there.
He already has the Seattle single season save record tied right now with Fernando Rodney with his 48. You got to believe he's going to pick up at least one somewhere between now and the end of the season to be the all-time Mariner leader.
There he is. He is an absolute flamethrower down there right now. 48 saves on the year. Ahmed at shortstop. They retire Haniger 2 out.
Receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos.
He's got 48 saves on the year, but the Mariners are 52-0 in his save opportunities. They even win when he blows the save. That's how you get from 48 to 52. Even when he's blown 4 saves, they've still won the game. So he's Mr. Lucky for Scott Service down there. Maniac to the bench coach. Here's Cano, don't you know?
Sneaking up on that pitcher spot for the Mariners. You saw Nelson Cruz with a bat and helmet over there next to his skipper.
Their DH, who has not played a game in the field all year. TJ is going to have to hurry. And he beats Cano to the bag. Nicely done. The return of the Mac. Bottom 9 on the way. From A.J. Pollock, Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing. Cool play of the game.
Yeah, we're so spoiled watching A.J. cover ground out there in center field, and I've mentioned it before. Diamondbacks fans have been spoiled since the beginning. Devon White, Steve Finley, Chris Young, now A.J. Pollock, tremendous center fielder.
That one off the bat of Kyle Seager, the lead off the 6th. Now it's bottom 9, and here is the all-star closer, Edwin Diaz. 48 saves, has already tied the Mariners record set by former D-back Fernando Rodney back in 2014. Diaz, absolute gas. He was the winning pitcher in the All-Star game this year. He is averaging 15 strikeouts for every 9 innings pitched. Nick Ahmed leads it off. He has struck out 46% of the batters he's faced this year. So a save for Diaz would set a new Mariners record here tonight. Jumps ahead 0-2. Here's that wide at Hickok strike zone again. But it's been like that all night long. Very consistent. Diaz has been quite a find. They run him out there as often as they can. 66 appearances last year. He's already made 62 this year. 34 saves last season, 48 this year. A 3rd round pick out of Puerto Rico by the Mariners back in 2012. Big, tall, lanky guy at 6'3", 165 pounds. 2-2. Avila on deck. And then the pitcher's spot. Ahmed. Diaz knocks it down. Tricky throw over there for Cano, but they retire Nick to start the ninth.
Diaz probably not used to having a lot of balls hit back to him. He usually misses bats. That time caught him on the back of the leg, but dropped straight down below him on the mound. He's able to recover in time to make the play.
Here's Avila, 0 for 3. Pitcher spot behind him, and Daniel Descalso is in the on-deck circle, sent to hit for McFarland. Gordon will back up well on the outfield grass at second. Seager in just a little bit at third. There it is, right to Robbie Cano. 2 down.
Well, it only took one. Diaz with a high velocity 98-mile-an-hour heater on that inner third of the plate, and Alex Avila just rolled over a ground ball to first base. Our Nationwide Vision Center's eye on the game.
Todd Walsh, Brandon Webb standing by. D-backs live post-game show follows our ball game. Descalso hits for McFarland. 99 from Diaz, 1-0. Descalso, 36 plate appearances as a pinch hitter this year. He's batting an even .300 with a home run. Gonna need a new bat. Ball and a strike.
Well, you see Diaz out there doing what he's doing this season after what he did last year. This guy's only 24 years old. The American League West is going to have to deal with this guy for a long time.
Yeah, he's your basic nightmare, the guy that comes in at the end of the game and just throws 99 and 98 all the time. His numbers have been ridiculous. 36 saves before the All-Star break this year, the most in Mariners history. 1-1. There's 98 in right under the hands. A ball and 2 strikes. .100 miles an hour, right on the corner, down and in. Didn't get the call. This guy is about as sure as you're going to find. The closest thing you'll find to a sure thing in these spots. And he strikes out to Scalzo, works a 1-2-3 ninth, and Seattle takes the opener 6-3. So the D-backs winning streak is snapped at 3. They dropped to 14 over 500, but the Rockies lost as well, so they maintain that 1-game lead over Colorado atop the NL West.
Yeah, once again, one bad inning for Zach Godley. Today it was the 3rd after his throwing error. The gates just opened up. The Mariners were able to push across 4 runs in that 3rd inning, and their pitching staff made it stand up tonight.
Well, Webby will break it down. He's standing by with Todd.
Steve, thank you very much. And Brandon, it's a shame. Just under 44,000 here. Fireworks about to take place. A post-game concert on Faith and Family Night. But the Diamondbacks were never really in this one, were they?
They really weren't. You know, sometimes we think about them coming out flat after days off, and I kind of feel like that was maybe what happened. Never really got anything going offensively. A couple of runs there on errors made by the Mariners there. Pitching wise, Zach Godley didn't have his right stuff either, so not a great game.
But we will talk about what Steve just mentioned, that 3rd inning when the game got away from him after the throwing error. So we'll have lots to get to when we come back in just a moment, because our coverage continues here. Players Weekend. It's still sinking in, by the way, all the nicknames on the back of the jerseys and the cleats and the expressions of all kinds of things by these guys, and it'll be a great weekend for that. But when we come back, Jody Jackson is here. Inside the clubhouse we'll go. We'll hear from Torey Lovullo on what happened and what didn't happen, plus Bob Brenly will also look at that 3rd inning with Brandon. We'll do all that on Diamondbacks Live, the postgame show, right after these messages.